Hi everyone, my name is Jessica Barker and I'm going to be talking to you guys today about the blue zones and how that's related to health. So first, what are the blue zones? The blue zones are geographic locations essentially with longevity. It's places around the world that people are reaching the age of 100 at a rate 10 times higher than anywhere else in the country and in all the countries. So essentially, it's kind of spread out all throughout the world, but these people are living longer, happier lives. And so people started studying these to see what exactly they were doing correctly. So there's one in California, Costa Rica, Italy, Greece, and Japan. So they're kind of spread out all over. I know there's one in Africa, but for right now, these are the original 5. So what makes it a blue zone? First and foremost, no smoking or decreased amounts of smoking. They found that not many people would smoke in these communities, so it lowered the secondhand, third-hand primary contact with cigarette smoke. So automatically it decreased chronic diseases as well as like upper respiratory diseases, just strictly based on the cigarette smoke alone. Second, pretty much vegetarian diets. Some places like in the Italy blue zone, they do eat fish, but above all else, it's usually a semi-vegetarian, plant-based diet. Also, social and community interactions. They found that the communities that people were living in were really promoting them to be social and communicate with one another. And so that, boosts cognitive as well as mental and physical health. Like I mentioned before, longevity. They're living longer, happier lives, healthier lives too. And so that's one aspect for the blue zone. Also, family involvement. They're finding that the family structures are really kind of held up in the blue zones. As people age, they don't get moved to retirement homes. They tend to get moved into the home or stay in the home with the family. And so the family structure remains solid. And finally, steady, mild to moderate activity. You don't see like a lot of boot camp type or CrossFit. It's not like 1 hour of powerhouse exercise. It's usually like bike riding and walking and light jogging throughout the week. So it's just on a steady basis. However, it's only mild to moderate effort. So the main front runners in the studying of the blue zone is Daniel Boettner, I suppose you pronounce that, and National Geographic. These two have been really the front runners of the research when it comes to blue zones, so I chose to look at their research articles when it came to this project, just because he's really the front runner in this whole blue zone project. So after he teamed up with National Geographic in 2004, Daniel decided to write a book called The Blue Zone Solution, kind of a way to bring the idea of blue zones to the masses, since it's so confined to those little areas. He felt like this was a good way to kind of let people in on their little secrets. I personally bought the book, and it's really good and really informative. I think that it's a great read, so I recommend anyone buying it. And this video here will just give a little cartoon version of what the blue zones are, so that way you guys can kind of see it here.
With hundreds of diets competing for your attention, it's hard to decide what to eat. Even if you pick the right diet, no diet has ever worked for more than about 3% of the people who start it. So, diets are good for selling books and weight loss programs, but practically useless for delivering lasting health. The Blue Zone Solution offers another way. We found places around the world where people are healthiest, with the lowest rates of cancer, heart disease, and obesity. Then, we distilled 155 dietary surveys to determine a global average of what these people ate, and along the way, made a few surprising discoveries. We found that about 95% of the food came from plants, that they actually ate a high-carb diet with relatively low amounts of protein and fats. They snacked on nuts, about a handful a day, and the cornerstone of every one of their diets was the simple bean, about a cup a day. This way of eating came naturally for these people. They didn't have to diet or deprive themselves of anything. They simply lived in places that made the right choices for them. The Blue Zone Solution shows you not only what to eat, but how to set up your surroundings so that your healthy choice is not only the natural choice, it's unavoidable. www.bluezones.com.
Okay, so that video really kind of talked more about the diet aspect of it, but it also talked about the environmental impact. Having those unhealthy choices readily available, it can be hard even for people who understand health to not choose the poor choices. If you're hungry and you're driving down the road and there's a beautiful vegetable stand or a filling cheeseburger, a lot of times they're going to choose the cheeseburger because it's filling, it's fast, and you don't have to do anything to it. So this book really talks about how to change your environment, kind of on a community level, but really almost your own personal. So after Daniel and National Geographic did this, they decided to do what's called the Blue Zone projects. So what this is essentially is taking the ideas from the Blue Zones and moving it outward. So what they essentially do is they go into a community, they renovate, they restructure, they redo all of this based on these ideals of the original 5 Blue Zones. So this picture down below, I believe this is in Michigan. You can see a before and after. So before, it's a pretty standard street, not very walking friendly, no bike lanes, just kind of blah. And then after, there's a beautiful roundabout with a tree, there's tons of bike lanes, there's it's a share the road situation. The sidewalks are wider. It's just a more community-friendly zone. So when I put complete community involvement on here for the Blue Zone projects, what that means is they don't just go in and renovate a part of town and just call it good. They essentially go in and they discuss it with city planners, government officials, restaurants, anyone that has an impact on how an environment is on the community level. They go in and they require at least 70% of involvement. So that means that the restaurants are going to start offering, healthier options. They're going to have access to, fresher organic foods. They really need the entire community to do this because it's not just a single person trying to make this change. They have done it in California, I believe in Venice Beach. They're going to be going to Oregon soon. They do it all over. And they also, you can actually volunteer with them. I looked into this. It's on the website that was listed on that video. But they go to the Blue Zones, every year, and they come back with more information to provide to the masses. So they're always doing research. They're always trying to push it farther. And it's a great company to look into. So how can you live like the Blue Zone? Daniel and the National Geographic, with that book, kind of set a little personal guidelines that you can follow to kind of live more like the Blue Zones. First, finding purpose. We've learned in other Camtasia videos that life purpose can really increase your health dramatically. Giving yourself a reason to wake up in the morning can just do wonders for your health. As we all know, reducing stress, the terribleness that stress causes to our bodies, is just going to deteriorate you faster than you need to. Spirituality, as we discussed in class, it could be religion, it could be whatever you find spiritual. They want you to take that and run with it. Give yourself more purpose. Once again, plant-based, primarily plant-based. I myself am a vegetarian, so I know, kind of what it can do for your body and how it can make you feel. And they're not saying you have to be totally vegetarian, incorporate meats when you want to. Just really make sure that you're eating plant-based foods for the most part. And as they mentioned, like nuts and beans and stuff like that, to get proteins. And then also engagement with family and social groups, as we talked about or in the earlier slides. Just staying involved in the community can really give you a sense of belonging. So they really push that. And also low alcohol intake, but really any kind of, smoking, alcohol, drugs, anything that's bad for your body is probably good to keep at a low level just because, we know what it can do to us. So here's some recipes that he listed on the website and in his book. I tried the Southwest quinoa salad and it's very good. I have yet to make the quick and easy lemon dill bean salad. But the recipes were kind of long to list, so I just put the links so you guys can go and check it out. But I recommend looking up more of the recipes. The recipes are actually really good and pretty easy. So these are the discussion questions. Do you guys think the Blue Zones are actually something to be followed? Do you think it's just real or coincidence? There's a lot of people out there that just says, I think it's just a coincidence that these people are living longer. It doesn't mean they're doing what you're supposed to do. It's just, happens to be, a coincidence. Also, do you think Reno could benefit from the Blue Zone solution? I personally think we could. It'd be nice to have better bike paths, more walkable sidewalks, more of a community feeling. I think it'd be great for it. And do you think this way of life is something that's doable? Would you consider making these changes if it meant you could live longer? Some people aren't really into living longer, but, just think about it. So those are my references, and I really appreciate you guys listening, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks.